I got this contact and it was like, hey, are you interested in checking out my game? And it was like, yeah, sure. And the developer of this game, the game is called Long Ago, A Puzzle Tale. It's from GrimTalin, who reached out on Twitter, and I've had quite a bit of conversations with them. They're really, really awesome. Really nice to work with. And they also provided us a code to give away for the game, and which we gave away last episode. We were supposed to have this talk with the giveaway, but due to E3, we had to postpone this talk. This did come out May 28th of this year, so just last month. Actually, last month almost to the day. It is a puzzle game, and where you have over 80 puzzles, and you kind of go through this like story mode, and as you go through each chapter, you have to roll this ball X amount of times because it changes, and try and get all the objectives you need to get. But it gets challenging pretty quickly. I was shocked at the challenge level, like the jump. I was like, oh my god! Like the fourth round was like, oh, this is kicking my butt because you only have X amount of times and to move. So the idea is to figure out how to collect everything within the allotted amount of moves, and a lot of fun. And the music was great. The visuals were nice and relaxing. It was colorful. It was easy to see. It's like an isometric view. Um, Greg, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know you got to play it too.
Well, at a glance, obviously you're seeing like it's a ball rolling, but it's much like an ice block puzzle. So anyone that's played Ocarina of Time, there's that ice dungeon. You have to slide the blocks, and pretty much as soon as you commit to the move, the ball is obviously rolling all the way across until it either interacts with something or it hits the edge ball. So that's a main premise and kind of how it works. But as you were saying, your first time through the level, you're collecting these feathers, and then on the second playthrough of that same level, you're collecting all the coins. So in order to unlock future levels, and um, you collect the feathers first, and then when you to unlock the next world of next 15, 16 courses, you have to then collect all the coins. So they do have a fail safe in there. So if you're absolutely bad at these kinds of puzzles, there's a little meter that builds up on the left hand side that will give you the hint on which move to do. So that's kind of nice if you fail the level a certain number of times. I had to do that on some of the later levels, both on the coins and on the feathers, just because it's very difficult to get through and get all three gems, at least on the first few attempts. So it's pretty easy to get at least the first gem on the level, but getting like two or three either requires you to kind of figure out how the puzzle is intended to be played through, or just kind of needing to resort to using the little help meter on the side. So that was definitely a very good blessing to have in a puzzle game. So then if you get too stuck, then you are still able to proceed and play other levels in the game that it has to offer. Um, like you were saying, it's beautiful levels, um, tons of puzzles added to it, and lots of great music to listen, or not really lots of great music, but a very beautiful soundtrack to listen to while you're solving the puzzle, and everything was very fun to experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the same thing as you guys so far. I mean, it was one of those games that I really did not think I would be playing nearly as much. I popped it in, a couple weeks ago and started it up. I was like, I gotta get some time and so we can actually talk about it. And the next thing I know, a few hours go by and I'm still playing and still trying to progress through it. And and the challenge that I've noticed with the puzzles is not overwhelming. I think it definitely gets difficult, like what you guys said, but for me, it was one of those kind of like I thought, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And so it was challenging me enough to keep going, but not to give up. And one thing I did notice though with the hint system, I think you can only do it from the very beginning, or at least that seemed like it. So like if I had already made several moves, I was having trouble with the hint system actually giving me a hint. It seemed like I could only do that from the very beginning of each map, and so I had to kind of get hints throughout the whole thing. or maybe it's just because I didn't take the correct move first, and so then it had nothing to give me because I already messed up. But anyhow, it's kind of cool that it was there, and it does kind of build up over time, and so you can't just like have it play for you. But yeah, I never got tired of the music, the anything like that. It fit the environment, and yeah, it was pretty fun. And then I'm excited to kind of go back to it. I think it'd be one of those games that I don't play all the time, but it'll be nice when I am traveling or I got a little extra time here, try to complete a couple puzzles, and then kind of move on. But yeah, the first little bit, I was playing for a couple hours before I knew it. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. There's definitely that hook as you start getting into that groove. It's what I love about puzzle games in that regards, where once it clicks with you, you can just kind of, all right, what's next? What's next? I'm gonna overcome. I like the fact that there is a hint system because some of these games can be very frustrating, and especially if it's like only one way to do and solve. It's like, oh, you made a right instead of a left. Oh, where did I go wrong? But I like that there's a lot of content. I like that you have to do each level multiple times, and I think this is a great pick up and play title. This is one that I'm happy to have on my Switch because it will be one that like, hey, I've got 10 minutes to kill. As much as I love the big epic RPGs, it's one of those things where I'm not gonna be able to pop into an RPG for 10 minutes because it's gonna want to suck me in for hours. But this is the type of thing where, hey, I'm gonna do a couple of these levels and accomplish something in a small amount of time, and I like that. I like that a lot. Now, this game is $9.99. Greg, would you recommend this as a purchase, or would at $9.99, or would you recommend waiting for a sale, or what would you say?
I would recommend it if you kind of enjoy these like ice blockish like style puzzles, because as we've all said, it can be frustrating at times even with the hint system, because I've noticed like even if I wanted to use the hint system, I still had to play the level through like at least a dozen times or whatever before I could get the 3 gems. But in terms of its overall value, like I was saying, if you do really enjoy these styles of puzzles, yes, it's definitely worth it. I probably would wait for a sale personally if I were to buy this one, even having like a demo version, just because the frustration just kind of like adds extra time into it. And we've always said like a game that's wasting your time is not the most enjoyable experience. So if it's going to take a while to build up to use your hint system and even use it like from the start of the level, then that can definitely lead you to not want to enjoy it as much. So
Gotcha.
That's fair. What about you,
Mhm.
Steve?
Yeah, actually, this is one of I think the rare games that I'm gonna say I think it's worth the 9.99. Normally I'd be like, yeah, it needs to be cheaper, but I think it's worth $10. I think there's plenty of puzzles there. I actually don't think it's too frustrating. I don't think it's, but I think you have to be into this kind of a genre to appreciate it. So if you appreciate this kind of genre, $10 is definitely not too much. It would be great, yeah, if they did have a demo so you could check out, a couple levels and see if you like this sort of thing. But at the same time, this is not a brand new kind of type of a game. So I'm sure there's some other type of a game out there that you can check out a demo and see if you like this kind of genre before you play this one. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is the story. It does not matter to me whatsoever, which is kind of unfortunate because it's kind of built around this story and this tale. I have no interest in the story whatsoever. I just want to progress through the puzzles and beat them all. But it's cool for those people that enjoy that. I guess it's just an added bonus. But you don't even have to pay attention to it. I have not been paying attention to the story and still having a lot of fun.
I actually really enjoyed the story. Almost wish there was more because there's only 6 that have like the story pieces, and I would always listen to the narration. I just love them doing the voice acting of the like reading it out, even though I could just read it. But I appreciate just kind of like listening to them like go through it.
Nice.
Yeah, see, there you go. Conflicting opinions, but that's great because you get to make your own. As for me, I think if this is the type of game you really enjoy, you like the sliding block puzzles and all that, I think there's enough content here for the $9.99 price tag. I think they really did a good job with the presentation. The fact that they even added a story, because a game like this doesn't actually need a story, but the fact that it was added is like that extra level. And the puzzles are good. I mean, it's not like too easy. It's not too hard. There's a little bit of frustration here or there, for sure, depending on your skill level. But I think there's enough content to warrant it. If this is not your cup of tea, then I'd say maybe wait for a sale to give it a try, because you don't want to spend $10 on something you're not going to enjoy. Demo would be great, of course. But yeah, so that's our thoughts. I do want to thank once again GrimTalin for providing us the codes, not only for this game chat, but also for the giveaway. It is very much appreciated, so thank you.